All right. So I might have just been talking into the ether there. Sorry if I was. Let me make sure and check here on Rumble to make sure my mic's on because I might have unmuted it on my actual mic, but don't think I unmuted it on Rumble. So let's see if we've actually got mic now. If not, I'll just kind of start over with my pleasantries. Let's see what we got here. Make sure everything's running on Rumble. Thank you guys for joining. I sincerely appreciate it. And I sure was talking into nothing, wasn't I? But anyways, thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate you. I think I've learned my lesson now that I need to make absolutely sure that my mic is on before I start talking. Hope everybody's had a good week. I'm sure that all of you have seen the news. The ether appreciated the rant. I actually haven't gotten into the rant yet. I was setting up my rant. I was it was a bit of an appetizer for the rant. So I'm sure most of you that are watching right now have seen the news. Trump was found guilty today on 34 counts. We are currently experiencing what I would say is the realization that we no longer have an objective system. If you haven't understood that over the past few years, it's blatantly obvious to you now. And that's where I think a lot of independents like myself, believe it or not, I'm an independent. I may be for Trump, but one of the reasons I'm for Trump is because he's actually not a Republican. He's on the Republican ticket, but he was a Democrat before that. And he espouses a lot of independent mentality, which I appreciate. So, right here, this 45 hat. This hat I got from a friend at the last Trump rally that I went to, which I've only been to one. I went to the Cape Girardeau, Missouri Trump rally a few years ago, and my friend got me this hat. My little brother actually got me this shirt just a few days ago, actually. So, MAGA AF, we the people. Not sure where he got it from, but I like the shirt. It fits well, looks good. So, figured with the news, might as well go ahead and MAGA it up for my attire today. I always wear this here. It's an FJB, Let's Go Brandon bracelet. I've been wearing that for years. I actually got it from the Hodge Twins site, but yeah, it's been an eventful week, and it sure as heck has been an eventful day. I was actually writing up the topics for the stream, and I was going to go with the fate of Donald Trump is in the jury's hands kind of thing, and talk about what the certain different things mean as far as like when they're them asking questions and the jury instruction and stuff like that. And as I was preparing the stream, the verdict came in, and I'm honestly surprised that it was all 34. The judge, Mershon, his instructions essentially hand-fed to the jury. Ways that they could find to convict. And it's something that will be easily appealed. This verdict will absolutely be appealed. I want to say that we're going to talk about a few different things today, but I honestly don't know how much I'm going to deviate from the most important topic at hand. I've got a few clips to pull up, Trump's response, stuff like that. Probably going to pull up Alvin Bragg, Fat Alvin, his response. I have lined up a few different topics. The next topic that if we get past Trump, which I don't know if we will, if we get past Trump, I plan on talking about this Democrat senator, a state senator from California who is leaving the party to protect children because her party is enabling those who would hurt children. So we're going to play that clip if we get past the Trump stuff, which I don't know. We might be talking all Trump today. And if that's your thing, great. If not, well, sorry. Say something in the chat. Maybe I'll switch up at some point. After we get done talking about that, um, covered it briefly last stream. Talked just for a couple minutes in general about the whole LawTube drama. Um, they For lawyers, they sure do seem to forget there's this thing called innocent until proven guilty. And as we see today, even if a jury finds you guilty, might not necessarily be the actual truth. Hmm. How about you, right? And a lot of people that are making broad statements about the whole Rekieta drama. And I've got some opinions on some people that I used to watch, and I don't anymore. I won't be. Sean, potentially criminal. Dude is the Schadenfreude that he's experiencing, and I get it. You might have personal beef with somebody, but be a man about it. Just be a man about it. There's no need to um, find satisfaction in the tears of children of someone who you might have considered a friend at some point. Andrew with Legal Mindset, I watched part of that stream with him and Sean, and he seemed like at the time he was doing a little bit better, trying to keep things a little bit neutral, but it's just devolved. And the stuff that I'm seeing on X, y'all are being little girls. Y'all are being downright just little girls. Stop it. It's getting old, but we'll talk about that a little bit. And then, my fun topic that I want to talk about at the end. Apparently, the Pope does have some moments of lucidity. The Pope had a based moment in an interview, and now he has apologized, which his advisors most likely told him to. He was talking about homosexuals being involved in the priesthood or in the church, and essentially he said in Italian, there was enough Frogationi or something like that, Frogation or something, which roughly translates to figotry, we'll say. Um, yeah, nice. Okay, I see you, Pope. I see you, but then you apologize. So that's our last topic that we'll talk about if we actually do get through my list of topics. Rumble has started ads. So you can actually, as a live streamer, now you can do ad reads. So during this stream, maybe in between topics, maybe just kind of when I feel it, I might do an ad read. Hopefully that doesn't bother y'all too much. It's a small amount. It's like one of the ones for 17.75 coffee is up to 30 cents or something like that per live viewer. So I mean, hey, I'm gonna hustle. So I'm not gonna try to make it overbearing though. I respect you guys, so I'm not gonna try to do like what the Daily Wire does and every single time I see a campaign open do an ad read, I'm not going to stop what I'm talking about and do that. If I feel like it's worth checking and seeing what campaigns are available, I'll look at it and see what's there. Like, okay, right now there's a couple that I could do. Not going to though. Not yet. We'll get into it though. I'll throw one out there here and there. So okay. I am definitely mad. I'm mad. I have what little faith I had in the judicial system is slipping away at an accelerated pace. My thing is, I do not want people to get violent. They want you to get violent. They want you to pop off. They want you to get after it. They want you to make a fool of yourself in the name of MAGA, in the name of America First, in the name of Trump. They want you to. I know Temple's game music. I know. I think I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe I'll get a little bit looser. By the time we get around to it, I think we would be technically an hour or so in. And I think with YouTube, you can pretty much say what you want after a certain point. I'm a bit of a free speech absolutist, and I'm about to sneeze. It's going to happen. Oh, buddy, that was a good one. And actually, that was actually extremely rare for me. I normally sneeze at least 3 times. So one good sneeze, that was special. You guys got that, even though I muted it. But anyways, the current state of the judicial system is something that I would liken to essentially, and I've been talking about this, and I do need to get a little bit more well versed in the history of what balkanization looks like. I do. I'm probably being a little bit irresponsible when I say that the country should just balkanize at this point. We should split up into our sections, have leaders or governors or whatever over these areas, and okay, 2 hours. Peachy, thanks, Peachy. Appreciate you joining. 2 hours in. I'm going to try to keep it under 2 hours today. I know I said that I was going to keep it to an hour and a half last time, and I went for 2 hours. But we were having fun in the chat, and we were just talking about good stuff. So if you guys are having fun, I'm having fun. So it might be 2 hours. We'll see. We'll see. I honestly, like I said, though, I'm more focused on Rumble. And with the whole thing, Rumble's got ads now. You can do an ad read when you're streaming. For small streamers like me, I mean, I'm barely getting off the ground. This is a hobby. I'm having fun with this. I enjoy talking to you guys. I enjoy putting information out there. I enjoy hopefully giving somebody a little bit of a laugh every now and then. It's kind of the goal. Inform and entertain. That's what I want to do. But maybe if at a certain point, when we get to the Pope story, I'm probably just going to go ahead and say what I want to say. So back to balkanization. Like I said, I need to get a little bit more well-read on what exactly that looks like. But here's my hot take. I think we are currently in a legal state in this country where our legal system has balkanized on its own. It literally is in different districts. And if you look at it, each district seems to adhere to its own flavor of the Constitution. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. It shouldn't. There is, and I mean, I guess you would call me a textualist, I think is what it would be called, where you look at the text of the Constitution and you adhere to that. It's not that fucking hard. It's really not. Just adhere to the Constitution. Just do your job. As lawyers, as judges, as juries, you despicable 12 slimy worms of individuals. Lawyers. Why were there lawyers? How on earth did they allow lawyers on the jury? New York lawyers on the jury. There's no way any layperson that was on that jury was going to be able to push back. Any typical layperson would be able to push back against those lawyers and be like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to convict. There is no you're supposed to find in a criminal proceeding, which is what this was, because they trumped up the charges, pun intended. These are typically what they would typically be misdemeanors. They enhanced them to felonies. And Bragg had no jurisdiction to bring these charges. This is a federal thing. The Federal Elections Commission would either fine, or the Department of Justice would have brought a case for this issue, not a state entity. This is not the state's jurisdiction. The fact that the judge continued to let it go on. Mershon, your daughter made millions of dollars off of this case. Tell me you're neutral. Again, you liar. You bitch boy. I'm seriously I'm so pissed off about this. Going back to the whole look at me wrong again, boy, essentially. That arrogant son of a bitch, and would dare in his jury instructions, would literally tell the jury, well, if 4 of you found guilty on this count, and 4 of you found guilty on that count, and 4 of you found guilty on that count, we're going to count that as a unanimous guilty verdict. Absolutely goddamn atrocious. And you had this dude on MSNBC. I don't think I'm going to bring it up because I don't want to expose you to this absolute bundle of sticks. Ugh, it looked like he had an O face, essentially, talking about Mershon. Like he was flustered and he had the vapors, essentially, talking about how great of a judge Mershon was. They cannot, these people in the corporate media cannot even begin to act like they are somewhat neutral, somewhat unbiased. They can't do it. They're broken. And you could say Trump broke them, but I think Trump put them on blast, essentially, made it very evident that what they're doing
is something that has never been neutral. I don't think they've ever actually been objective. Trump just showed them for what they are. They couldn't help themselves. So they put themselves out there and have shown their true colors. And they're happy about this. There are so many in the media and in the corporate elite that are happy about this verdict. You have idiots like Bill Kristol on X saying something like, oh, a jury of his peers found him guilty. And Nancy Pelosi, she did too. You don't have a right to a jury of your peers. You have a right to an impartial jury. And you're telling me in a district where 90% of them voted for the Democrat, you're telling me that that was an impartial jury? You want to try that again? No way. No way in hell that's an impartial jury. All right? Which means his constitutional rights have been violated. Trump mentions in his response, which we're going to watch that here in a moment. Trump mentions in his response that they motioned for a change of venue, which would have been reasonable, just like most of the people from January 6th, Certification Day 2021. Most of them should have been able to change venue. They shouldn't have had to face a trial, bench, or jury in DC. There's no way you're going to get an impartial jury there. There's no way you're going to get an impartial judge there. The judges literally showed their bias in responding to some of these, individuals that were present on Certification Day 2021. This case has some of, and as a layperson, I don't know for sure, but everything that I've heard, everything that I saw would indicate that there's a good chance that there's going to be an appeal. One would think. And the appeal would go through. But Judge Merchan has decided that sentencing will be July 11th. You guys know what's on July 15th? The Republican National Convention, where they officially nominate the candidate for president. So that's a little interesting, isn't it? Very convenient. That's the time they're going to do it. They're already working on the appeal, I would assume. The legal team is already working on the appeal. The appeals court happens to be full. Apparently, the appeal court for that district happens to be all black women. So take that for what you will. But that's just a look that makes you think that maybe he won't get a fair shake in that aspect either. Just maybe. If they're stereotypes. I hope they're not. I hope they could be neutral. I don't automatically assume that somebody, just because of their immutable characteristics, will be a hack. But it's likely. It is definitely likely. We're in a tough spot as a country, y'all. It shouldn't have gone down like this. And like I've said, here's my white pill about this type of thing. My white pill about this is that we see it for what it is now. And it was such a high-profile individual as Donald Trump. Think of all the miscarriages of justice that have occurred for the little people like you and I. The people who don't have millions of dollars. Think how many times we get screwed by the system. Because tyrants sit upon the bench. Fools, ignorant individuals end up in the jury pool. Do you respect the jury? Hell no, I don't respect this jury. Hell no. People act all uppity about it, act all sanctimonious about the jury. Screw that jury. The jury absolutely screwed the pooch here. They could have done the right thing, y'all. They could have done the right thing beyond a reasonable doubt. The prosecution did not prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no earthly fucking way that they thought Trump was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You cannot tell me that they actually thought that, legitimately thought that. No, you had a bunch of lefty idiots or lean left independents that were like, oh man, Trump's a bad guy. Oh, Trump did this, Trump did that. You know what? He had an insurrection. We should find him guilty because of the insurrection. That's what they were probably thinking. These people are so damn blind and so damn foolish that they actually think that the orange dictator, they think Trump is Hitler, and they think that they are righteous in their approach. They think that they are absolutely justified in persecuting somebody because they don't like him, because they think that he is actually Hitler. They think that he is going to destroy the country. They are under the impression that's going to happen, when in reality, he's not going to destroy a damn thing. It's the idiots that respond, the Summer of Love fools, the Antifa freaking twats. Sup, Salt Dumpster? Sup, Peachy? Yeah, DEI hires. I flip those letters around. I flip it around to DIE, Peachy. Diversity, inclusion, and equity. And I say DIE because whenever you implement these standards, these policies, these approaches, your culture dies. That's why diversity, inclusion, and equity. It dies. Your culture dies when you start implementing that. You go back to Weimar, Germany, okay? I was just talking about this with some coworkers earlier. You go back to Weimar, Germany. What was going on there? Absolute degeneracy, absolute atrocity when it comes to exposure to kids. And right now we're seeing parallels, and it's horrifying. If you look back at history and what went on, we are dangerously close. We're dangerously close to a pendulum swing. What was the pendulum swing in Germany, y'all? It was the fellow with the funny mustache and the patch on his arm, doing the friendly waves and the quick goose stepping. Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that type of response. But I fear that that is where we will end up. Because when you go so hard to the left, eventually the right's going to start speaking up, and you're going to have the violent or extreme right end up becoming the ones that people flock to. And I would hate to see a situation where we literally have a society that is ruled by, oh, well, if you have this certain hooved animal, if you dare eat that, then, well, you've messed up. You're going to go ahead and have to go to prison for that. Or if a woman would dare cover her head, the top of her head. I'm for biblical principles, but I don't want strict adherence to biblical law for the society. Just don't. I think it's a bad take. So, yeah. Yes, Salt Dumpster, the hiring process is messed up. It is. They, well, and here's the thing. People on the bench, you got judges. You've got prosecuting attorneys that campaign, and a lot of them are quote unquote, not political when they run. Yeah, when you have individuals like Letitia Peekaboo James and Bragg literally campaigning on the fact that they want to get Trump, they want to put him behind bars. Yeah, no, there's nothing neutral about them. There's nothing neutral about them. So Trump is a fighter, all right? And we have to be ready to fight metaphorically. Metaphorically. Fight with your words right now. Absolutely. Speak up. Talk to people. Confront them. I got on Facebook, and some younger woman was being an idiot, very educated, but not paying attention clearly to what's been going on over the past few years. And she's like, oh, 34 counts, and there's still half of my friends list that want him to be president. It's a joke. No, honey, you're a joke because you haven't been paying attention to this, and you only pay attention to these bits and pieces of media highlights. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. If anything, you're the joke. But they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They are going to think that they are righteous, think that they are correct, think that because the Google told them that that's the right thing. No, you're wrong. Speaking of Trump being a fighter, let's go ahead and watch his statement from after the verdict was read. I'm absolutely voting for a convicted felon in November. Absolutely voting for a convicted felon. MAGA AF. All right? That's what's happening. I'm an independent, but I lean right. And right now I'm leaning hard right. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch Trump's response. Oh, that's big. Make sure I'm not going to blow y'all's eardrums out. Warning for those of you with a who uses Google. Brave browser is much better. Let's see here. There we go. Pulling it up now. Let's see what the God King himself has to say.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end and we'll win, because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists. And they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one, with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Okay, right there, right before it cut off, that woman, a reporter, asked, why should voters... Oh, hey, we got somebody on YouTube watching. Thank you, YouTube person. Appreciate you. But we had that reporter right afterwards. Her question was, why should voters... Oh, dang it. And we lost the YouTube person. I scared him away. Should have been quiet. But anyways, she said, why should voters vote for a convicted felon? The headlines already... Oh, a convicted felon is running for president. Biden's statement, which I don't have it pulled up on my laptop, but I do have it on my phone, so I'm just going to read it off my phone. The Biden-Harris campaign's statement on today's verdict. In New York today, we saw that no one is above the law, except your whole administration. You, Mr. Biden. Something that I pride myself in is whenever the Biden-Harris campaign headquarter or POTUS account posts something that I see on X, it doesn't matter what the topic is. It doesn't matter what, serious issue they may be discussing. My only response is, when did you stop taking showers with your daughter, Biden? Because that's the biggest thing that matters to me. You hurt your daughter. I have kids. I have little girls. I sure as hell ain't stepping in the shower with my girls. Okay? The fact that his daughter wrote in her diary about being uncomfortable and having to wait till late at night to take a shower because she was scared that he was going to get in the shower with her, that's a fact, y'all. That's not speculation. That's not hyperbole. That is what happened. So, I don't care what they're talking about. I'm going to respond with that. Anytime I see something from Biden on X or any platform, I respond, when did you stop showering with your daughter? That's all I got for him. If I meet him in person, that's what I'm going to ask. I don't care. I don't care. Peachy, you have a good point. The flood of illegals is what really were. It's a definitely. And Trump started to go into, if y'all were watching his statement there, he started to do a little bit of going into campaign mode with his talking about the illegals. But he's right. It's a good point to make. Let's go ahead and continue with Biden's statement about the verdict. So they say, Biden goes on to say, Donald Trump has always mistakenly believed he would never face consequences for breaking the law for his own personal gain. But today's verdict does not change the fact that the American people face a simple reality. There is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box. Convicted felon or not, Trump will be the Republican nominee for president. Well, at least they finally accepted that reality. Good on you, I guess. The threat Trump poses to our democracy, we're a constitutional republic with democratic processes, not a democracy. We're not. We have democratic processes, and that's a good thing that we have those processes, but we are a constitutional republic. Had to get that out of there, sorry. So the threat Trump poses to our democracy has never been greater. He is running an increasingly unhinged campaign of revenge and retribution. Good. Pledging to be a dictator on day one and calling for our Constitution to be terminated. These disingenuous hacks. He was joking. He was joking. He said, yeah, I'm going to be a dictator on day one so that I can do this, 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 and this. It was a joke. You arrogant, uppity wasps. You annoying wasps. He gave him that. He was clearly joking. If you'd watched his little thing, it was with Sean Hannity, I believe, when he said that. Crazy. So dictator on day one, calling for a constitution to be terminated. He didn't say he was going to terminate the Constitution. He said there were certain principles that at the time might not need to be looked at. I forgot the context of that quote that they're taking out of context, which is what they do. They take things out of context because that's all they've got. They don't have any actual salient points. They want to smear. They do what was it? Nancy Pelosi talked about in detail, the wrap-up smear. Yeah. So a second Trump term means chaos, ripping away Americans' freedoms and fomenting political violence. And the American people will reject it this November. You're going to say that Trump was promoting violence? You're going to sit here and tell me that Trump's the one that promoted violence when you guys are literally the ones that had the Summer of Love, the fentanyl festivals, we'll call them, the fentanyl Floyd festivals. That's what we're going to call the Summer of Love from now on. Fentanyl Floyd festivals. Some alliteration for you there. No. I reject your premise, and I don't like you. That's how I feel right now about the Biden campaign. Any of them, honestly. Yeah, you know what, Peachy? I agree. We're going to bring that one up. I like that. First convicted felon elected president. Does have a nice ring to it. I agree. Peachy. And I don't know why people make this... I don't like the identity politics thing. And there are quite a few people that are like, oh, this is going to help him with minorities. What? Because minorities are inherently criminals? Is that what you're insinuating? I mean, okay, there are higher levels of crime in certain communities. That's an objective truth. And I guess you do see it. I mean, people are like, oh, he's being persecuted, and they see quite a few people in the, black, I guess, community have been persecuted. So they might form a bit of a kinship, or that's the thought anyways. What do we got going on here? So with these ads, we got First Amendment rights. Something just popped up in my live chat. I'm not really sure what it is. I'm going to click on it. Let's see. Oh, it's loading. It's got a little loading symbol, guys. I'm not sure what this means. We'll see. Or not. I don't know. Squirreled hard there. My bad, y'all. I guess we'll wait and see if that actually does anything. I wonder if it's on the app or if it's just popping up for me right now. Let me see. Oh, I'm not sure what that is. But anyways, if First Amendment rights is someone joining the stream, thanks for joining. If that's an ad, maybe it'll pop up and I'll have an ad to read here in a second. Who knows? They want us to get violent in response to this. Don't do it. Be careful of anyone organizing protests. I'm not saying that you can't protest. Not saying that you cannot protest. You absolutely can protest. And here's the thing, if they go to sentence Trump to prison time, I've got leave time. I might be taking a trip to hold up a sign and protest. Yeah. Now, am I going to get violent? No. Am I going to defend myself if somebody tries to hurt me physically? Yeah. That is to be expected, though. Oh, yeah, it is the okay. Hey, First Amendment rights. Thanks for joining, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's the Rumble logo. It's doing the little it's got a little emoji kind of thing going on there. So cool deal. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Put it up here real quick. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It's doing its little thing. Appreciate you joining First Amendment rights. Let me look real quick. Let me see if I do. I actually have a couple here. You know what? If y'all don't mind, I'm going to try my first ever ad read in a live stream. It shouldn't be too long. Let me see here. So the instructions, I'll give y'all a little back behind the curtain kind of thing here. So it says, when you read the URL at the end, please remember to voice that there is a dash or a hyphen. Okay, I can do that. Let me see. So the ad that we're going to read here is for RXIT. So, first ever ad read here. You ever feel like your IT bill is a ticking time bomb? Hidden charges, out of scope surprises? It's enough to make any business owner lose their mind. We're the managed service provider that says no to billing nightmares. No more unexpected fees, no more gotcha invoices, just straightforward, flat rate pricing for all the IT support you need. We're talking about talking unlimited help desk support, 24/7 cybersecurity monitoring, network planning that actually makes sense, and expertise that runs deeper than the Mariana Trench. Y'all, that's deep, okay? The Mariana Trench, it's pretty deep. When it comes to Microsoft products, we keep your systems running smoothly, protect you from those digital bad guys, and help your business grow. And the best part, y'all ready for this? Y'all ready? You'll know exactly what you're paying every single month. No fine print, no nasty surprises. So, if you're tired of being nickel and dimed by your IT provider, it's time to switch to the clear, simple choice, RXIT. Maybe that's prescription IT? We're the cure for IT billing headaches. IT peace of mind, guaranteed. Visit www. The letter RX hyphen or dash the letter IT.com. All right. All right. So I hope that wasn't too jarring for y'all. Hey, if you got IT stuff, if you got a business, check them out. RXIT, why not? Appreciate Rumble presenting the opportunity to make a little bit of something, little side hustle. I do appreciate that. So Peachy liked. Apparently there's a little bit of humor there. Hopefully I didn't sound too cheesy with that, but I definitely did put on a little bit of an announcer tone for that. Yeah, check them out. RXIT. It's in the link is there in the chat. If you do have a business, if you do have IT issues or IT concerns, might be worth checking them out. Give them a click. Don't know if there's a way to tell them Bill sent you or the Bulldozer sent you, but maybe at some point. We'll see. All right, so back to Trump. They do want you to get violent. Don't do it. Absolutely make your voices heard. Talk to people about this stuff, okay? People have been asleep for far too long, and they need to be woken up. Sometimes you got to shake them awake. This is one that is something interesting that I've seen, y'all. Something that more white pill, okay? This is actually one of the best things that could have happened. And if they put him in prison, I mean, I'm already at the point Trump has won. With this, Trump's going to win. Don't get complacent. Don't sit back. Don't let people just automatically talk about this like they know what they're talking about when it's clear that they don't. y'all that are watching right now, you're more responsible than a lot of the people who would try to talk about something like this. You actually pay attention to things, even if it's listening to someone else pontificate about it. You are more informed. Just that simple act of engaging in a conversation about a topic, excuse me, you're more informed than most of the populace. Most of the population is blissfully unaware of the constitutional crisis that we face. They are very likely, they're very likely to put a former president behind bars. The Secret Service was meeting with New York, I guess Rikers Island officials, the prisoners, the prison system, to talk about how to jail Trump, how that would look. Judge Merchan, go for it, buddy. Go for it. You limp-wristed looking mothers. No, activist judges got to go, y'all. This guy, he's presented so many cases for appeals. So many cases for appeals. It would be. Let's look him up. Let me pull him up real quick and tell me what you guys think. So let me find him real quick. Hopefully that clacking isn't too annoying. No, I'm probably gonna have to go to X to find him. But anyways, it's SC Medic. Hey man, thanks for joining. You actually raise a great point. It is amazing how many people don't know. It is amazing how many people are just clueless. And I can't. If it's because you're busy and you have your life, I get it. I do. But also, willful ignorance is a problem. And I've said this in streams before. I've said this in videos before. Willful ignorance is something that absolutely bothers me. Absolutely, it bothers me. If you're willfully ignorant, if you choose to stick your head in the sand like an ostrich, I lose respect for you. What's up, Yanny Fangs? Appreciate you joining, bud. Willful ignorance should be, you should be ostracized for it. If you're willfully ignorant, if you put your fingers in your ears and go la 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 la, because you don't want to hear something that dares challenge your worldview, I lose respect for you. And you shouldn't expect me to respect you if you don't actually. Yanny Fang, dude, thank you. Yanny Fangs just became a monthly supporter here on my Rumble channel. Yanny Fangs, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I don't know how to highlight that, but it's on there. I see it on the live chat on my phone. Glad I looked. Appreciate you, buddy. But yeah, it with what they're doing, they if they put him in prison, he's going to win from prison. It's a state charge though, so he can't pardon himself. He would have to depend on a governor, and the current governor is Kathy Hochul or Hochul. She's the one that thinks that black people can't use a computer. Yeah, that's her. Oh, I might need to be a little bit quieter. My 1-year-old happens to share a wall with my desk, my work desk. So I just heard him thumping around in his room. So hopefully I don't wake him up. That sure would. My wife would not be happy with me. She's not feeling too well. So I did tell her I was going to try to keep this to under 2 hours today. But we've here on this first topic, we've gone almost an hour. So yeah. What's up, Apocryphal World Records? Thank you so much for joining, bud. Good evening, freedom lovers. Yes. Got the shirt. MAGA AF. This hat, if you didn't see earlier, I actually got this from the Trump rally in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, a few years ago. My buddy Tim actually got it for me. So Yep. SC Medic, he brought up a great point. He had a student, 32-year-old female, last sat, who is not registered to vote. Yeah. My wife is not registered to vote. And I've told her, just I'm not going to lead you wrong. Trust me, if I tell you to vote for this person, I'm right. And she agrees. Thanks, Apocryphal. Appreciate you. Oh man, we got some stuff in the chat. We got the American flag flying. Heck yeah. But yeah, do not let this demoralize you. The Marxists aim to demoralize those who would have hope. They want you to feel like things are hopeless. Young men, if any young men watch my stuff, if you're a single young man, be careful. If you go and you protest, be careful. Do not let Fed boys get you riled up into doing something stupid. Defend yourself if you need to, yes, but do not bring violence. We are not the party of violence. We are the party of reason. That is what we have on our side. We have reason. Now, here's where, quote unquote, war, as some would term it, needs to come in. On the legal side of things, we need to see the right get just as vicious as the left, okay? They have been fighting. Gerald A. from Louder with Crowder, Gerald Morgan, whatever, Gerald. He was saying essentially that no, we don't, because he responded no to someone who said that the Republican attorneys general should go after Democrats now and prosecute them. He said no. Fuck that. Go after them. Play the same game or you can't win at this point. And is it sad that we have to be that way? Yeah, it is. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of seeing the conservatives. And like I said, I'm an independent. I'm sick and tired of seeing the conservatives act a fool and just decide to be righteous. You can't do that. If somebody is cutting your damn Achilles tendons with a rusty knife, you can't act like you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with them. Okay? It's a completely different game. Completely different game. First Amendment. We're roasting Gerald. He said, yeah, well, I assumed your gender. I apologize, First Amendment rights. I need a rainbow font to type Gerald A. Yeah, after that one, I would agree. Oh, man. It's going to be okay, y'all. It's going to be okay. I think we are on the upswing, honestly. I really do. I think we're on the upswing as far as this is concerned. It may look rough. I'm going to have to check your gaming channel out. First Amendment Rights gaming channel. If I don't already follow you, I'm going to try to follow you. Don't know if I can do that right now. I'll get to you at some point. Screenshot so I can look you up later. But yeah, I think we're gonna end up. I think we're gonna switch it around. Oh God, got a lot of notifications on X for some reason. Wonder what's going on there. I might have made some people mad. I don't know. Who cares? But yeah, the left has they've overplayed their hand. They've overplayed their hand. Yes, absolutely. It's SC Medic. 100%, sir. 100%. It's unfortunate, but they've dictated the rules of engagement, so let's play. Absolutely. They have established the rules of engagement. We need to play by the rules that they have established because evidently they're the ones that said it. So we've got to meet them where they're at. You can't play. We're playing marbles and they're playing 4D chess. We can't keep doing this because we're never going to win. People with common sense and people that give a shit about this country and people that give a shit about objective reality are going to end up going by the wayside if we don't start getting determined and meeting fire with fire. In an actual fire, sometimes you use fire to take away some of the fuel, right? You literally are fighting fire with fire. It works, and we need to get after it. If it ends up in something that's more serious at some point, I hope it doesn't. I pray that we don't end up in ever end up in a hot civil war, but we're in a cold civil war at this point. I will put, if I had a beanie, I'd put it on. We're there. We're there. If you look at the Summer of Love, the Fentanyl Floyd festivals, we had a brief example of it. And it's not good. It's not good. Trump's a fighter. He's going to be okay. Even if they put him in prison, they put him behind bars. If they put Trump behind bars, it will be a landslide. It will be a landslide. I'm seeing this thing. Here's the white pill. I lost my train of thought earlier. The white pill that I'm seeing on X, even on Facebook, barring that silly woman that I was talking about earlier, there are people who say, wow, I really don't like Trump's personality, but after watching what they've done to him legally, I'm going to crawl over glass to vote for him in November. I would absolutely walk across burning coals to vote in November. That is how important I feel the voting process is. And a lot of people get black-pilled. A lot of people get black-pilled about voting, and I can't let myself do that because that's all we've got right now. All we've got is voting. And getting involved in your local, your towns, your counties. That's what we've got. That's how we can bring it back. That's how we can take back over institutions. Peachy, if they rig the election again, if they rig the election again, I hate to say it, but I'm probably going to step back away from focusing on federal politics. I will devote most of my energy and my attention to state and local things. And I need to be more involved in my state politics. There's, budget concerns in Missouri and stuff like that I'm not as well read on as I should be. I'm far more, I'm more well versed in international and national news topics because I'm a bit of a news and political junkie. That's just who I am. SC Medic, congrats, George Floyd. You're 4 years drug free. Yeah. I said before, I don't think that Chauvin definitely got overcharged. Shouldn't have been found guilty on what he was. But as somebody who's in lines of, I've had lines of work where you do restrain individuals, and you do show care for the individual that you're restraining. You check to make sure that the blood flow is not getting cut off, make sure there's no ischemia. That's what that is. Make sure they're breathing, make sure that they're not, choking on vomit or something like that. There was a lot going on there. So I understand to an extent why he might not have been as engaged, but when you had other officers that were telling you needed to check the vitals, you probably should have done so, man. There was a bit of negligence there. Did he die from the knee on the back, upper shoulder / neck? Most of the time it wasn't on his neck. It was alternating back and forth between his upper shoulder and his neck. Did he die from that? No, he died from a fentanyl overdose. That's what killed the man. Now, where you could get into it is where, okay, well, why didn't they get EMS? Why didn't they get Narcan administered as soon as possible? That's where you could go with that. But off of that topic, Trump is most likely, he's most likely going to win. And I hope this, I hope, and here's the thing. Yes, it was a drug overdose, Peachy. You're right. It was fentanyl and norfentanyl. People talk about the amount in his system. They're like, oh, well, the processed amount of fentanyl was only this. And that's actually not an overdose. But the norfentanyl that was in his body that his body hadn't actually processed yet was enough to kill you. Anybody. The dude ate his stash. He had a habit of doing this in the past. When he got caught, he'd eat his stash. That's what he did. And it killed him. Because that's what happens when you eat your stash. Yeah, we the Brandon administration. Afuera. I love Millet. He's great. I think we're going to see a positive thing come November. I really do. And I want people to stay engaged. I want people to stay fired up. I want people to stay on top of things. Talk to the normies. It might be uncomfortable. I'm at the point with this stuff today, and this might be a little bit immature of me. I'm at that point. I will absolutely end relationships. I absolutely will. If you can't be bothered to actually give a shit about your country, give a shit about what's going on here, because it will trickle down. The crap will flow down. It will. We see it. If you don't acknowledge how the the mismanagement, I've got younger kids, so I don't talk serious politics to them usually. But they asked me about why things aren't going as well. And I said, okay, say for instance, I'm a big metaphor person. I said, say for instance, you have somebody driving a car who doesn't have a license or doesn't know how to drive. It's going to be chaotic. You're going to hit stuff. You might have a wreck. And that's kind of what we have going on now. My 8-year-old is very literal, so I had to break it down and be like, no, I'm not saying an actual person driving. It's just the thought of it. If this happened, that's kind of like what's going on with our country right now. That's SC Medic. You have a good point here. You know, Chauvin was distracted by the crowd, had 2 rookie officers on scene with him as a vet, and he was watching their back. EMS called before they put him on the ground. Yeah, he shouldn't have been convicted on what he was. There was definitely some stuff there. I think he probably ended up. I remember Barnes talking about how he thought Chauvin was being railroaded because of past issues. And if you look back into that case, Chauvin and Floyd worked security at a nightclub or something together. There was so much going on there. And they're not, they wouldn't. Chauvin, I think, tried to get an appeal, but it didn't go through. Trump should get an appeal. Let me look this up. Really quick. Sorry, guys. It's just going to bug me if I don't. Let me look them up. Oh, I might have bookmarked it. Did I? No, I did not. Let me find this real quick. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Oh, right there. Yep. Okay. So apparently, let me make sure nothing crazy is on X, because if you guys have been on X recently, there are some really inappropriate things that pop up. If you have if you pay for or X, the $10 a month or whatever it is for X, there's some I need to figure out a way to change my settings to where something that might be inappropriate is actually blurred out or hidden, because I really don't want to see these rainbow protesters with their stuff out. I don't need to see that. Or the dude with the gasoline with the gas pump. I was in a public place when I was scrolling through and that popped up, and I had to flip my phone over real quick because no, I didn't need to see that. Nobody else needs to see that. No, sir. Poor form. That's not where the gas pump goes. Put it somewhere else. Global warming. Oh, whatever. What's up, Mild? How you doing, bud? Appreciate you joining. All right, so we're going to take a look at the 5 New York appeal court judges. And y'all tell me if you think he's got a fair shot at an appeal at the state level anyways. Let's see. Let us see. Yeah, I don't know, guys. There it is. There it is. So those apparently are the 5 appeal court judges. And like I said earlier, I'm not going to assume based on their immutable characteristics that they're automatically going to be, excuse me, hostile to Trump. But one could absolutely infer that they're gonna. What do y'all think? Do y'all think they're going to be neutral? Do y'all think they're going to be fair in their analysis? I don't know. Let's hope they can be. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Positive thoughts, guys. Positive thoughts. And even if he's not able to, get the state appeal. Peachy, I don't blame you for assuming that they're not going to give him a fair shake. There are so many things in this trial. The jury instructions were messed up. The hesitancy of Mershon to allow evidence that would be beneficial to the defense, but everything possible that could add a case for the prosecution, he let in. Stormy Daniel talking about Trump's, whether or not he put a condom on, and the man's a germaphobe. So if he was going to tap Stormy, I would assume he probably would put a condom on. That's just my gut instinct, but whatever. They let testimony in that had nothing to do with the charges. It had nothing to do with it. The SC Medic, you bring up a great point. If you're talking about those judges, that does definitely defy the law of averages, if that's what you're talking about. And I brought that up earlier when I was talking to somebody that, I'm sorry, but when I see every single one of the people on an appeals court that looks like that, I don't want to assume, but I kind of have to assume that, you might have a Boeing situation. They might only be there because of DEI or DIE practices. One could assume. Yeah. It's a sad day for the rule of law, for sure. It is disheartening to see that we're clearly splitting up into districts as far as adherence to the Constitution, interpretation of the Constitution, which I get. The judicial branch is to interpret, yes. But there comes a point when interpreting morphs into bastardization. And that's what I think we currently are looking at. We're looking at a bastardization of the legal process. We cannot be expected to assume that the system is going to work anymore. It's not a safe assumption that the system will be neutral, that the system will be objective. Don't assume that. Yeah, not that grouping of women was not very diverse, was it? SC Medic, I agree. Not diverse at all. Yep. So I'm sorry, but that just doesn't jive. Just doesn't jive with me. If they earn their spot, that's great. No problem with that. But when you see that, you tend to assume that maybe there might be a little bit of politicking involved there. Might be just a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't know, though. I haven't looked into them, so I would have to look into them to form a full opinion on that. One of the things I wanted to play for you, speaking on Trump, and then we'll probably go ahead and move into other topics. But we had Elena Haba on Fox with, I think, Shannon Bream. And we're going to watch this exchange real quick here. Nope. I think I still have it on presenter. Yeah, we're good. So let's look at this real quick. You had Elena Haba on with Shannon Bream, Fox News. If you guys have paid attention, Fox News ain't the best. It's just as corporate as the rest of them. But let's watch the lovely Elena school Shannon Bream.
Been in the polls. It has been in fundraising. So is there a net positive to him from this whole thing?
Well, if you want to look at it from a political standpoint, I think then, yeah, that's different. We have Americans, we have people that were Biden supporters. I can't imagine how or why, but they're now waking up and saying, whoa, this is not America. This is very un-American, and we can't survive another 4 years of this. So if you want to look at it that way, sure. But I don't think countries need to hit rock bottom. I don't understand why we couldn't have continued on an upward trajectory of American morals, of the Constitution. I'm not sure why we had to hit this low point, to be honest. But if that's what gets President Trump back in office.
But when you talk about things like morals, people will say this is a case about a former president, somebody who was running for president, paying off a porn star who alleges that she had a relationship with him. I mean, that sparks a whole other conversation about morality, who's running the country. Obviously, voters in 2016, it was not a problem.
I don't care, honestly, about your morality when it comes to your sexual proclivities. I don't. I want you to do the job. I don't care if Trump I don't care if he bedded a porn star. I don't. Good for you, Trump. Yeah, it's scummy that you were, your wife was pregnant at the time, but who's to say that they didn't have an agreement? We don't know. We can't assume.
Problem, or they factored in what they knew about the Access Hollywood tape and other things, and they were comfortable sending President Trump to the White House.
Fox News is garbage. Fox News is absolute garbage. The Access Hollywood tape, grab them by the pussy. He said they let you. When you're rich and famous, women will let you. That implies consent. Does it not? Is it locker room talk? Yes. Is it crude? Absolutely. Am I going to act like I've never said something like that or been crude or crass about topics with my brothers or with my guy friends? No, because I'm not a liar. I'm not going to act like I've never talked in a raunchy way. Okay? Get off your high horse, folks.
They've had 4 years to think about the way he performed, now 4 years of President Biden. But some of them will always now have this vision with President Trump that these kinds of dramas and things will be just part of his package, part of what comes with him as president.
It's called extortion. Extortion is something that happens with people when they are powerful, when they are strong voiced, and when people listen to them. It is a natural consequence of being a very effective human being in this unfortunate culture that we have. It is litigious. That is what America has become. And Joe Biden, unfortunately, can't really do anything in office. So he's got to use the same means as somebody who's just trying to have a quick slip and fall and make money. And that is frankly what we're seeing right now. This is exactly a Biden show because he's got to distract the American people. Listen,
but the Biden administration is not responsible for this trial.
How can you say the Biden administration is not responsible for this trial?
It's a state trial. It's Alvin Bragg. Whether you think there's a political motive for him, it's not connected to the DOJ. I mean,
Shannon,
the feds passed on these election charges.
Shannon, you should look at how many logs they have of state officials, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, visiting the White House, and then tell me that this is not a Biden trial. I don't care.
The feds pass on this case is the point I'm
You're
making.
right. The feds pass on this case. Also, DA Cy Vance passed on this case. And
years
frankly,
ago, and then it came back.
And Bragg passed on this case. You know when it came back? When he decided to run for office. So tell me how that's not an indication that Joe Biden, who just sent his campaign down here with Robert De Niro yesterday, isn't a part of this. Frankly, any question that we had of that was squashed yesterday. And if you have even more concerns about whether he's involved in this, look at the fact that he is publicizing, literally publicizing for tonight to have a speech if a verdict comes out. That's a sad state of affairs. Meanwhile, our country is falling apart. He's got bigger fish to fry.
Do you not think, though, that any president would want to weigh in on something that's this historic, a former president, his predecessor, whatever the verdict or decision may be?
I wish that Biden had that same.
That was shady framing from you, Shannon Bream. That was shady framing. You're carrying Biden's water. That's what she just did. Saying, oh, well, isn't it just normal that they would... She completely ignored the fact of what Elena just said. Elena just destroyed her insinuation that this wasn't politically motivated by the current administration. And what did she do? Well, I mean, isn't it normal that they would want to comment on it? She just completely, it's just gaslighting like a son of a gun.
Same sentiment about the border, fentanyl, and our children being mutilated. I would prefer that he would focus on the real things instead of trying to attack his political opponent, who he just cannot beat.
Well, we'll see what the jury does and how quickly they do it. Alina, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, she didn't like that. She didn't like that at all. Too bad, Shannon. You messed up. She caught you. She knew what you were doing. She wasn't having none of it. Salt dumpster. I'd only dock Trump for points because that's the last porn star I'd... Hey, I mean, to each their own. There are definitely better ones, I suppose. But, I didn't know this, though. If you guys, gosh dang it, is it SC Medic? Is it the Gun Club or the Gun Room? Your channel. But SC Medic, White Pill of the Day, Supreme Court ruled 9-0 for the NRA in their lawsuit against New York State. Wasn't even aware of that right now. There's too much other stuff going on, but that is excellent news, SC Medic. Thanks for letting us know that. Appreciate you, bud. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. The Supreme Court's doing some good things. They may not be perfect. You've got some Federalist Society judges that got on there, Barrett and Kavanaugh. I think were Federalist Society judges recommended to Trump. There were other ones that he could have gone with. I believe there was a woman out of Florida that would have been an interesting nomination to the bench. Heck, if Trump gets back in and there's another, death or somebody retires, then he can put another Supreme Court justice on the bench. And let's hope he actually does a good one, okay? Let's hope he does a good one and not another Barrett. I don't think Barrett is going to be, I don't think Barrett's the best pick. I think Amy Coney Barrett is shown her colors a few times, and she's been disappointing at times. When her specifically when it comes to pandemics and forced vaccinations, essentially, she has some bad takes legally on that type of thing. The Gun Club, yes. So, and I'll have to check that out. So SE Medic has a channel here on Rumble. If you want SE Medic, you can throw that in the link, and I'll pop it up for a second if you want. The Gun Club. And he actually covered that topic earlier on his show. So you guys should go check him out. Does some great coverage. He has some really good breakdowns of just general awareness. He was talking the other day on one of his shows about one of the biggest reasons that biggest things that people are breaking into cars for is to look for guns. So it's best not to keep your guns in your car or in your glove box. And I was keeping my carry that, when I go out and I do DoorDash and stuff like that, I carry because I'm not playing. I don't, you get into some rough areas when you're doing that. So I need to be more consistent in my carrying. I've got a decent holster now. So, it's good. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That may be cliche, but it's the truth. You never know. One of the videos I saw recently was a family, literally a mother and child, bringing groceries up to the stoop of their doorstep. And these savages show up with the extended magazines for their handguns. And they've probably filed it down to where you could, just hold the trigger and go essentially auto, which your accuracy drops dramatically, but you can still, do the spray and pray and hurt somebody. And they robbed them. Right there. There was another instance. Train. If you've got weapons, you should absolutely be responsible with your weapons. And one of the things that is responsible about owning a weapon is actually training and practicing. One of the things that you need to be cognizant of is, do you want to keep one in the chamber? There we go. Do you want to keep one? Do you want to keep it hot when you're carrying, or do you want to, when you pull, safety off, rack one, and then point? Or do you want to have one in the chamber and on safety? You got to think, how quickly is that motion of racking one and then pointing? You got to take that into consideration if you ever are in a situation where you have to defend yourself. And God forbid it ever happens. I never want to have to use my gun on somebody. Ever. You shouldn't want to. But if you have to, you have to. And just hope and pray that I never encounter a situation like that. But yeah, absolutely, man. If I've been getting a little bit more time in the evenings, so yeah, I'll definitely. I know we've talked about it before, and I think I still have your email address, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've got you on X, so I might shoot you a DM later. And if not, if I don't have you, I'll find you on there. But let me pull up SC Medic. Here is the link for his Rumble channel. Does great talks about self-defense, responsible gun ownership, general awareness, all kinds of topics, firearms related and self-defense related. Very, very solid wealth of information in his mind. So great person to watch. Cool guy. Check him out. you want to screenshot that and then go follow him later, that'll be great. Come on, cooperate with me, mouse. All right. So I think we've pretty much covered the Trump stuff as much as I wanted to. I'm mad that it's happened, but I am hopeful, and I'm actually glad in a way, because what this has done is this has made the people that are independents, the people that are normies, perk their head up and go, wait, what? Trump just got convicted on 34 felony counts? Oh, wait, what? Wait, these are federal charges, but a state was pushing them? Wait a second, that doesn't seem right. Even the normies are going to see this and see that it's not right. Even the normies, okay? Hey, thanks, Salt Dumpster. Salt Dumpster's going to follow. Situational awareness, man, I think it's yellow. I try to stay in yellow, especially when I'm out. You know, if I catch myself in white, I get, grumpy at myself, because you get comfortable and you never know when something's going to happen. This family, I saw a video of a family in, I think, Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. They were just going out to their car and they got carjacked, and they had their kids in the car. And thankfully the people didn't start shooting the car and with the kids in it, and they were able to get their kids out. But in those situations, I mean, what do you do? If you don't have a way to defend yourself, your car's gone. Your kids are possibly dead. You never know. You never know. The next topic that I want to talk about, we're going to go ahead and move on from the Trump thing. I think I got about all I want to get out of that. Might have something else pop in my head later that I want to get out, but the Democrats, they are just degenerate. And in California, exceptionally so. They have people like Mr. Scott Wiener, who literally pushed for legislation to make it acceptable for adult males to have backdoor activities with teenage males, young teenage males, to decriminalize that. That is something that happens in California. Yeah, SC Medic. Yep, that's the one I'm talking about, the one in the driveway. Just absolutely ridiculous. And I was even looking at it and trying to analyze the angles and stuff like that of, okay, well, you don't want to start a gunfight and your kids get caught in the gunfight. So like, that's a, if you haven't broken that one down, you would probably have a lot better perspective on that than I would. I was just looking at it and thinking of all the different angles and the logistics of how you would defend your family and stuff. So, yeah, but, yeah, crazy stuff. But California literally allows that type of thing. And there is a Democratic senator from California who is leaving the party. She had a speech. Yep. Salt Dumpster's got a great point there in the chat. You got to carry hot. And I mean, I've got mine. I've definitely got it ready, but I'm not going to go around without a mag or anything like that. But I mean, I guess hot's having one in the chamber. But let's watch this little clip from, I think it's Susan Eggman. She is done with it. She's done with the justification that they allow adults to hurt kids. And she's done with it, and she's leaving the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party, especially in California, seems to be absolutely fine with kids being victimized. That's a problem. That's a serious moral blight on this world, that there are individuals that are okay with kids being victimized. People like Harvey Milk, a pederast, which is just, he was attracted to teen boys. That's, I think, what a pederast means. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking about Harvey Milk like he was a great hero. Harvey Milk has a movie. Why? he was screwing teenage boys. That's called grooming and statutory rape. We live in such a backwards society right now. And this Democrat got done with it. She was done with it. And she's got a decent little address that she did in this, I think it's California State Senate. So let's listen to what Susan Eggman has to say. Let me get my mouse working here.
Members, I'd like to say, as a progressive, proud member of this body for the last 12 years, I'm done. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done. I don't want to send more black and brown men to prison. I don't want more people in prison, but I don't want people buying girls. I don't want people buying little girls anymore. And I'm tired of saying it's okay and that we have to protect the men who do it. As a mental health professional and as a social worker, I can tell you I've spent my entire career working with people who have been wounded. I'm not going to say beyond repair, but they have been wounded to their core by the abuse that's been heaped on them, oftentimes by those that they love and look to protect them. And if their parents won't do it, then by God, we should. Again, I am not arguing that we open the gates to flood our prisons with people, but I am arguing that we have a moral responsibility to say enough. Enough. We have given away enough on this area, and we've got to move back into.
She mentioned working social work and the damage that it can do to an individual. I'm of the opinion, and I've seen some stuff, and I put up my professional walls, so I'm okay. But that stuff, there's something called secondary trauma. And even if you have the best walls possible, when you see enough kids telling you stories of trusted adults in their lives hurting them, it gets to you. And it taxes you. And she's talking about that. It is one of the most evil things that you can do, hurting kids in that way. And it tends to cause so much evil in the world. I don't want to say it's the root of all evil, but it is one of them. And I think if there's demons involved, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I cannot think of anything that would make somebody that would, and I get, there's a phrase in social work, hurt people, but there's a second part to that. Not everybody who's hurt has to hurt others. That's the other part to that. So it wouldn't be, I just cannot think the first person who did it. I just cannot think that is something other than demonic. They would make you want to hurt a kid like that. Just demonic.
To the center, or we all look like fools and laughing stocks. And what do we stand for? I ask all of you to watch the documentary that Senator Grove was in, Senator from Kern County was just in, that talked about this very place in Sacramento where girls are being bought and sold. Men are being given a slap in the hand or a couple days, and then they're back out again, and they do the same thing. They get caught over and over and over again, and somehow that's okay. It's not okay. It is not okay anymore. And no more am I watching. Like I said, I'm leaving, but the rest of you who are going to be here for a while, let's get our stuff together and really start focusing on some of the important things. We talk about learning and we talk about being safe. This is like at the core of it. And a lot of these kids can be throwaway kids. They're poor kids. They're kids of color. But they shouldn't have to live a life determined by what happens to them by others at a very young age and by have the Democratic Party of California say it's okay. It's not okay. And I'm not doing it anymore, and I hope none of you do too. We have to be able to draw a line and.
Well said, ma'am. Well said. Good job, Susan. It sucks that it took you that long to get to that point, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you got to that point because it needs to be said. Children should be protected. Children, cliche, but children are the future of this nation. The next generation coming up, we have to make sure that they're safe. And if we are going the way of Weimar Germany, and we're going to essentially start talking about kids being able to consent. People like Harvey Milk, people like Scott Wiener, people like the Democrats in California, people like the Democrats in general saying that kids can consent to mutilating their bodies, engaging in interactions with adults. No. We need more people to step up and go, absolutely not. Line drawn. There are objective wrongs and rights. When you're involving kids in sexuality, you are wrong. You are demonstrating one of the most evil things that I can think of when you're involving kids in sexual stuff. Don't do it. My opinion is I think that the people who hurt kids, especially adults, there's actual research that shows that kids that do things to other kids, they can actually seek treatment. If you've got like a 12 or a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old even, there are different treatment methods. Sometimes they literally think it's okay because their family did it to them. And it's normal to them. So they're just like, well, I was just doing what was normal. I was doing what we do in our family. Until they're told that that's not normal. And the look on some of those kids' faces when they find out that that's not okay, and when they're old enough to, when they can actually internalize what harm they did, it's soul crushing for them, and it hurts to see that, but it's a good sign when you see that, because that means there's a chance for them to turn it around and never do it to another young kid again. There's a chance for the young ones. When you get to a certain age, though, literally no research indicates that they're worthy of rehabilitation. I happen to think that we should bring scaphism back. Scaphism is one of my favorite forms of torture / execution for those that have done something so horrible that they would deserve it. It's also referred to as the boats. You guys might want to look that one up. It's a fun one. It's horrendous, but it's deserving. That they're deserving. The people who do that, they deserve that. That they deserve a slow and horrendous way to go out. Scaphism. It's on the menu. At least it should be. So, sounds like she's retiring. It doesn't sound like she's leaving the Democrat Party and going to be. Someone had in the comments there, because I did say this a second ago. It sucks that it took you that long to come to this realization, but somebody brought up in the comments there that, she was defending them for the longest. She was protecting them. She was with that party. She let it happen too. So is she blameless in this? No, but I'll give somebody props. I'll give somebody props when they finally come to the objective truth, the right decision. I'm not going to. I'll give them props for that. I still don't respect her history, most likely. But what she said there was good. And the fact that she's got that approach now is a good thing. There are things that are right and there are things that are wrong. I'm going to go ahead and kind of move into this next topic here. Yeah, make keel hauling great again. I actually need to look that up. But speaking of right and wrong, I'm sure some of you who watch me also may watch some of the LawTubers or, Rekieta. And there's been a lot going on with him and his family. And I am saddened to see that there are individuals who are grifting. And I get it. I get the joke of, well, Nick would want us to grift off of this. Maybe in a tasteful way. But what I'm seeing from some of these individuals that actually kind of respect it a little bit isn't respectful. It isn't the right way to go about it. And yeah, I've got my feelings about it, but I also, here's the thing. And I was talking with Sally, I'm not going to form an opinion on this because do I trust the state? No. I'm not going to automatically assume that stuff that is in a warrant or the stuff that is a probable cause statement is the actual fact, is the actual for sure thing that was going on. I'm not going to just accept it at face value. Now, does it look bad? Absolutely, it looks bad. And if it's found that things are actually going the way that they think they might be, then I want the best for the family, and I want the best for Rekieta and his wife, and I want the best for the kids. Absolutely. But the people that are grifting off of this in the malicious way, Sean, for instance, I used to like watching Sean, but after, and I get it, you may have your personal beef with somebody, but as a man, even if you have personal beef with somebody, you put that shit to the side when kids are involved, when the families are involved. You know, yeah, you may have your personal beef. You may have had yeah, you there's a respectful and a tactful way to do it. And people like, I would say, Joe Neerman with Good Logic, and Andrew Bronca. And I haven't watched the lead attorney's analysis of it, but he literally works in family court. So he's going to have a very professional perspective on this. And everything that I've seen from him, the dude sounds professional. So it's sad to see somebody experience such schadenfreude from someone's life collapsing. And just because there are allegations and accusations doesn't mean that it's actually what was going on, y'all. Innocent until proven guilty, right? Innocent until proven guilty. But you have people that are acting like the warrant or the probable cause statements are absolute truth. Yeah, SC Medic. Yeah, and you got to have humor about it. You got to have gallows humor about this type of thing. I want the best for Nick, and I hope I really want the best for him. But I do not respect people that are grifting in such a malicious way. Like I said, you can hate the dude all you want. That's fine. You don't have to like him. You can be mad at him for him being mean to you on a stream once. That's fine. But stop self-gratifying off of the tears of a family that is breaking, man. It's slimy, and it just, honestly, and they're complaining about Barnes blocking them because Barnes is a constitutionalist. He is a constitutional rights lawyer. That's his area of expertise. His analysis is that there may have been some constitutional issues in this. And a lot of them, like Nate the lawyer and all these others, they're talking about, well, this is just how it is. It's how it is because you let it be that way. All right. And that's like a lot of just normal folks, right? Lay people. The things that are currently happening are happening because we let them, because we allow it. For instance, the government's control over us. They only have as much control as we let them have. Remember that. If you are a lawyer and you're saying that, you know, God dang it, SC Medic. He's got a big old nose. I mean, honestly, it probably wasn't that much. But even then, like, talking about the amount that was there, that was found, it includes the packaging. Does that include a Tupperware container? Like, we don't know. It seems like all my experience with stuff like this, there should have been a wellness check. I don't know why a warrant was the first thing that happened. Apparently, they had this thing for a week and didn't act on it. So I'm like, well, where's your sense of urgency? If you were so concerned about the kids, why wasn't there somebody out there earlier? Why wasn't there somebody calling from CPS or something like that? There's so much that we don't know that we can't form a full opinion on it, guys. If you do, you're talking out your ass. Honestly, you are. And these lawyers know better. They know better than to go ahead and act like these things are gospel. And they've got their fans. And I was a fan of Sean to an extent. I mean, he's the Kiwi Farm stuff. Never been on it. I don't know. There's beautiful autists apparently on Kiwi Farms. Great for you guys. I don't want to get on there. I don't care. But in Legal Mindset, I watched the one stream, and then after seeing some of the back and forth on X, dude's being a little girl about it. And Barnes blocked you and trying to start stuff with Viva. You guys are such drama farmers right now. And I get it. It's a hustle. It's a grift, but you lost me. You lost me. And yeah, I'm talking about y'all right now, but you lost me. I'm not going to be watching your crap anymore. I'm not going to be ever sending a Rumble rant to you anymore. It's not happening because you guys are slimy as hell. And you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You ought to take a step back. And yeah, I get it. This is your hustle. You're making money, whatever, with this grift. I get it. But be a human being. People are flawed. Okay? People make mistakes. And maybe if you're getting messages from somebody who might be in a crisis, you don't put them out on blast like they have been. I'm not trying to grift. I'm talking about them being jerks. I don't want to talk about an opinion one way or the other. I'm saying that we need, because I'm not going to do a whole thing about it, and I'm not going to talk about it very long. I just felt like I needed to address the people that are being slime balls. That's where I'm going. I don't like that they're being slimy about it. I think there's a respectful way to talk about it. Maybe people don't like how I'm talking about it, and that's fine. I don't like. I just personally don't. It just gives me bad vibes. We don't know enough about the situation. I mean, I guess, but I'm just basing what I'm seeing their approach, and I'm responding to their approach. As far as the legal stuff, we don't know enough, and I won't form an opinion until I know more officially. And like I'm not probably going to talk much more about it after this. I just kind of have been seeing stuff go on and seeing the approach. I think it's slimy. That's my opinion. If you like the drama, that's fine. I mean, I think that there's a respectful way, there's a man way to go about it. And I don't think, especially if they consider themselves friends, there's a lot better ways to go about it, in my opinion. So treat people like human beings. Like I said in my last stream too, if you are struggling, there are all kinds of avenues that you can reach out for help. Far too often, men think that they can't reach out and ask for help. Trust someone around you and ask for some help if you need it. And, you've got to take care of your family. That is the most important thing. Career is what it is. You got to make sure your kids and your family is safe. That's the biggest thing. Like I've said, we don't know all the details. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know. We just don't know. There's so much you don't know. So to make assumptions or to make solid stances on it, I think is I think it's poor form, but I get it. I do get it. I don't like it. That's just me. This is me personally talking about how I personally feel about it. I'm not going to judge. If some things end up being true, will I be mad? Yeah. And will I lose respect to an extent? Yeah. If some of the things are true, yeah. But I also want the best for the family and, want the best for everyone in the situation. I want people to be healthy. I want people to be well. I want people to succeed. I'm happy when people do well. I'm one of those people. I like it when people do well. That's just me. I don't want to see people fail unless you are like a lefty Marxist who wants to hurt kids. Then I want you to fail. But in general, I like most people to do well. I like most people to succeed. And yeah, that's just kind of my opinion. Take it for what it is. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Hopefully things die down and people move on. Maybe the Trump stuff. Maybe people will talk more about that. That's great for the LawTube community. They could definitely talk all day about the Trump stuff. Let's hope they do. Be men about it. That's my thing. Just be men about it. Yeah. So, on to our next topic. We're getting close to the end of the stream here. we're going to end on a high note, on a happy note, a silly note. We are going to talk about based Pope. And I know that typically the Pope is a commie twat. Yes, very true. Has a dark history. We have an article that we're going to read, and I'm going to go ahead and read the article verbatim. I think if YouTube wants to do whatever they do, I don't care. I'm focused on Rumble. That's where I stream. I do have the YouTube live stream going, apparently, but if it still is, I don't even know. We're going to talk about Pope Francis being based and candid. In his recent interview, he has since apologized. So, based points removed for that. Don't apologize. Let's look at what we got here. Make sure nothing crazy is on the side here. We're going to read a little bit of an article here about Pope Francis. End on our lighthearted note here. There we go. All right. So, Pope Francis apologized on Tuesday after he reportedly used a homophobic slur while reiterating his opposition to gay people becoming priests during a private discussion on the matter with bishops last week. Here's the thing. He may be opposed to it, but there are a lot of closeted gay men who become priests. And sadly, I think that's why you ended up having a lot of the abuse that you saw in the church and probably still goes on. Yeah. There's a lot of priests that are in the rainbow community. They just are closeted and repressed, and then they end up doing horrible things. Is that every priest? No. But are they out there? Yes. So Pope Francis actually doesn't want them in the church, doesn't want them being priests. Pope Francis, here's a quote. This is a quote from Pope Francis. These are not my words. This is Pope Francis's words. So Pope Francis says, there's already too much fraseaggini. Fraseaggini? I don't know how to pronounce that. In seminaries, Francis has been quoted as saying, using an Italian word that roughly translates to faggotry. Yeah. Good on you, Pope. Good on you, Pope. Based Pope. I'm fine with that. So the remark said to have been made during a closed-door meeting last Monday was first reported by Italian news and gossip site Da Gospia, and then affirmed by Italian newspapers La Repubblica and Corriere della Sera, which each cited unnamed first-hand sources. The Pope never intended to offend or express himself in homophobic terms, and he apologizes to those who felt offended by the use of the term, as reported by others, said Matteo Bruni, director of the Holy See Press Office, in a statement on Tuesday. So you're going to let me continue reading this, or am I going to have to subscribe? There we go. We're good. We're good. So, Corriere reported that the remark was received with incredulous laughter by the bishops in attendance, and that given the 87-year-old Argentinian pontiff's native language is Spanish, it was evident that the Pope was not aware of how offensive the word is in Italian. Apparently the priest thought it was kind of funny. So Catholic magazine America similarly reported that Francis's use of fraseaggini, SE Medic says Pope Francis has been reading the unbreaded gospel. So they said that it was a gaffe rather than an intentional slur, given the Pope's who am I to judge attitude towards gay priests. Francis was named Times 2013 Person of the Year. Gosh, he's been around that long? After uttering those landmark 5 words 11 years ago that seemed, at the time, to herald a new era of acceptance and inclusion of LGBTQ people by the Catholic Church. Late last year, Francis gave his approval for priests to bless same-sex couples, and in February, he said he saw hypocrisy in those who criticized that decision. No, priests shouldn't be blessing no, especially Catholic priests. No, absolutely fucking not. No. You want to get married to whoever, I don't care. You want to have a civil union with whatever, that's great. Taking away the biblical opinion of marriage in this context is foolish and irreligious. maybe in his older age, he's kind of having moments of lucidity or moments of based popeness that we could see a little bit more of, maybe. But there's been a move with the Catholic Church for God knows how long towards progressivism, and that's not how it should be. But when it comes to gay people joining the priesthood, Francis has continued to back the Vatican's official policy, approved by predecessor Pope Benedict the 16th in 2005, that the Church, while profoundly respecting the persons in question, cannot admit to the seminary or to holy orders those who practice homosexuality, present deep-seated homosexual tendencies, or support the so-called gay culture. In 2018, during a similar closed-door meeting with the Italian bishops, Francis reportedly warned that applicants to the priesthood should be vetted carefully and that anyone suspected of being homosexual should be rejected. Agreed. If in doubt, better not let them enter, he was quoted as saying. You can be exclusive in religion. You can be exclusive in your church and your practices. That is what it is. If you want a church, if you want a denomination that that accepts everybody and has a rainbow robes, go for it. I think Methodists are doing that, or Presbyterians maybe. If that's your thing, go for it. According to Coyer, an assembly of bishops last November approved a potential reform, which yet required the pontiff's approval to be implemented, that would distinguish between simple homosexual orientation and deeply rooted tendencies, and would permit the admission of people in the former category to seminary so long as they could commit, like all seminarians, to a life of strict celibacy. When asked about this hypothetical approach, Francis reportedly responded in a firmly negative way, according to La Repubblica, which noted that he also emphasized respect is still owed to every person, regardless of their sexual orientation. I agree with that, SC Medic. It's a fine line. Bless the individuals, but not the union. I don't care. I've said that before. I'm independent/libertarian in my approach to a lot of things. As long as you're not involving kids, I don't really care. You can dress up in a fursuit and hump each other. Don't really give a crap. If that's something you want to do in your free time, go for it. Keep it out of the public eye, though. How about that? Is that too much to ask? Yeah, I don't think the church should be blessing it. But Francis explained, La Repubblica reported, as translated by America, it's necessary to put down markers and prevent the risk that the gay person who chooses the priesthood could later end up living a double life, continuing to practice homosexuality while at the same time suffering from this dissimulation. Before he made what seemed to be meant as a joke about the frasiagine that already exists in the Italian seminaries. So he was pointing it out that there are quite a few gay priests. If you can keep yourself from, you're technically living in what is biblically considered sin. And, you hate, what is it? You hate the sin, not the sinner type of thing. I don't really, I just don't think that the church should be forced to adopt a progressive approach to this. You draw lines, and that's one. So, Bruni's statement on Tuesday added, as Pope Francis has stated on many occasions, there is room for everyone in the church, for everyone. No one is useless, no one is superfluous. There is room for everyone, just as we are everyone. And it's a nice approach, but like I said, it's a little bit of a base statement there, a nice little joke that the Pope had, but I think progressive approaches end up resulting in, like what we see with the DIE stuff. Cultures tend to be watered down so severely that negative things happen. And I'm fine with his approach, not wanting to include them in the priesthood. I don't think we should. I don't care what you do in your personal life, but oh God. All right, SC Medic. All right, man. That's good. But that's kind of ending it on A little bit of a lighter note there, get a little bit serious, but the fact that the Pope said faggotry is pretty hilarious to me. I think that's funny. So what we talked about today, we talked about the bulk of this stream. We talked about the Trump trial, the Trump conviction, the guilty verdicts, 34 of them, y'all. 34 big bad guilty verdicts. Utter nonsense, utter garbage. We need to stay focused, guys. Stay focused. I think the appeal is going to go through, probably after the election, but apparently he's going to be sentenced on July 11th, a few days before the GOP convention. So we'll see. We'll see. Next, we talked about the Democrat senator from California who I guess is retiring, and she railed against the Democrat Party of California enabling kids being hurt. She specifically mentioned the little girls that are hurt from their policies. They let the people that hurt kids get right back out on the streets. And if they're right back out on the streets, what are they going to do? They're going to hurt more kids. They don't stop. You can't stop those adults from doing it until you make them stop. They can't be fixed. The adults, you can't fix those adults. They're done. There's a brass solution to that, in my opinion. Or scaphism, like I said. We then talked a little bit about the Rekieta stuff. I just gave my personal opinions on some stuff as far as like how people are handling it. I talked about it for a brief moment. Probably not going to talk about it again, but I felt like it needed to be said that, my opinion, people aren't being manly about it. People are being kind of bitch made. That's just my opinion. You can take it for what you take it or leave it. Don't really care. That's just my opinion on it. I think it's shameful when you're cheering on a family's demise. You can hate a person, but if a family's involved, you need to take a step back. And you can be hurt and you can be mad and you can be frustrated at the person. That's fine. It's understandable. And if some of the things are true, absolutely agree. But also, don't be a bitch about it. And that's what I'm seeing some individuals be on the LawTube side. Maybe they'll turn it around and talk a little bit better, differently. I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably done talking about it after that. Just felt like I needed to get that out. So that's my perspective. After that, we went ahead and talked about the Pope's baseness. Based Pope Francis talking about faggotry in the church. Yeah, it's a brief moment of lucidity, moment of clarity for the Pope. Took him 87 years old to get a little bit relaxed enough to talk about that. But good for you, Pope Francis. Good for you. Let's see. I think. Oh, first of all, last video did exceptionally well. We have 3,670 something views on the last video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I absolutely appreciate the heck out of anybody who's watching my stuff. If you like my stuff, follow my channel. Follow me on X, Dozer74. You can follow me on Truth Social, BillDozer74. I'm on YouTube as well, BillDozer74. But I do prefer, if you're going to follow me here on Rumble. We saw that Yanni Fangs, not Yanni Fangs. Wait, was it? Let me see. Let me scroll back up in the chat here. Who was it? Yeah, it was Yanni Fangs. Became a monthly supporter here on Rumble. That is something that you can do. You can become a monthly supporter. Rumble has that option available. Did my first ad read today, so that was something interesting. Hopefully, it wasn't too jarring or too didn't remove the immersive experience from the stream. Let's see. If you're watching and you don't have a Rumble account, I do understand the hesitancy to create a Rumble account, but you really don't have anything to worry about. If you don't have a Rumble account, it takes you a couple minutes. Just create a Rumble account, give me a follow. And if you like what I'm doing, share, like the stream, comment down below. Like I said, I aim to inform and entertain. That's all I want to do. I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you guys so much for participating in the chat. I am the Bill Dozer. Follow me at BillDozer74. Y'all have a good one.